Hi, Nick. Good to
Hey
see you.
there. I see the producers just put me right in. I've surprised both of you, I'm sure.
Hello,
Happy,
hello.
Hello.
happy New Year, Nick.
Happy New Year to all of you. It's nice and early here in the US, but I'm more than happy to be here. I was just watching the game actually.
You
Really
were watching
interesting.
it. So, what was your impression of the game?
Some pretty complex play. Looked like a draw there for a little while, some time in the middle game, but really interesting perseverance for Christian on there. So yeah, interesting to see what happens from here on out. I guess the next game's at 5 p.m. CET, right?
Yes, in an hour. So, we were just discussing that now Alexander is most probably forced to reconsider his opening repertoire, his choice,
Mhm.
the black. Well, he is forced to win to still keep
Indeed.
himself on the track.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is such an interesting event, to see all the winners from previous Reelton Cups invited back to play in such an interesting event, especially with the knockout format, which has been becoming more and more popular on chess.com. I remember we ran a poll recently, and it was like, what tournament format would you like to see developed on chess.com? Knockout won overwhelmingly. So I guess people really enjoy the fierce competition of the knockout format, sort of like the
People
World
like
Cup,
the
right?
blood. For people who do like the blood, yes, as you do.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's
What would
true.
you
That's
what would you be wishing to all the chess players for the new year? Let's start with that.
well, I mean, first of all, that they can, carry some of the exciting online play back to over the board play, hopefully, right? I think that would be number one. Obviously, being able to play with faster time controls means there's significantly more mistakes being made, blunders being made, and accuracies being made that can change a game. And I hope that we see some of the attacking chess that we've seen this year online come back to over the board play. It's been really interesting seeing so many players try to navigate this new landscape. And when you have tournaments, like this one, which are providing opportunities for players to play competitively, which don't actually have a bearing right on their classical rating, on their FIDE rating. It's really fascinating because you're having to find all these different pockets of opportunity, whether that be like coaching or playing, or now in the new era, creating content or something of that nature. Really interesting stuff. I'm curious to see how chess kind of goes back to normal after this, after seeing so many new players, especially start playing online for the first time and having never played over the board.
Nick, we do have this saying that every gray cloud does have its golden line. So
Yeah,
for
yeah,
it
silver lining, right? Yeah.
seems to be a very wide golden line during this COVID times. Well, chess has switched to or transferred to the online mode
Mhm.
rapidly. This is the advantage of our game as well. But how do you see it? How could we take also this opportunity of this high audience, these many new chess players joining online chess, really transferring somehow also them to the on real time or on the
Yeah.
board?
It's a great question. This is going to sound somewhat controversial to the chess purists, but I've been an advocate, and I know a few of my colleagues who work within Swedish chess as well maybe feel the same way. I'm not sure if they voice it or not, but I'm an advocate for bringing more personalities into the game, right? And what I mean is potentially bringing open microphones into the game, having spectators able to conversate, right, and having spectators able to be a lot closer to the game, sort of like how things were, decades ago, maybe hundreds of years ago, even when there wasn't the same sort of distance, I guess, both figuratively and literally between the players and the fans. Fans have now gotten so used to seeing players online who are, getting out of bed just like them to go play in a tournament or something. They're talking directly to each other sometimes in casual games. They're streaming and they're giving their thoughts, like Nakamura, for example, and that's really hard to get away from, right? When you go from that sort of intimacy to a little less of an intimate setting in classical chess, and specifically in any type of time control and over the board chess, it might be a little bit jarring. And I think in order to keep these casual players, and we've seen a huge influx of casual players like barely know how to move the pieces, in order to keep them interested and keep them engaged with the game, I mean, there may need to be some sort of change to some extent without losing the authenticity of chess itself, to have those fans be able to connect.
That we ought to make chess a little less posh, or what is that?
Yeah, I think that's definitely part of it. there is something very like let's put it this way. The Queen's Gambit was very popular in a lot of ways because of its set design and because of its costumes and things like that. Like, it got people lost in another world. So you can't take that away completely.
And I also think that one factor why people loved this character of Queen's Gambit was that she was not perfect at all.
Right, exactly. Yeah, she was completely imperfect. In fact, you didn't quite know why sometimes because she was so mysterious, but she was imperfect in so many ways. And it's funny because I've gone, I've talked to a few media members about this, and they're like, "Is it really like that in chess?" And yeah, it can be. And I think we all know that, like, behind the scenes, there's drama like any other industry, right? A lot of people say like, "Oh, my industry is like high school or it's like college," right? There's drama. Chess is no different. It's not immune from that. And the point that I'm trying to make, I guess, is that it can still be posh and be engaging in the same way. Like, people don't need everything to be casual because the casual nature of everything has creeped into like society. And I think chess has its place as a classy game, so to speak. But yeah, definitely like allowing fans to be more engaged with the players, right? And be able to hear the players' thoughts. Things like that are really critical because creating these personalities does not come off as authentic. And we've seen a lot of like esports, for example, try to create these inauthentic personalities of their players, and it doesn't resonate with the audience. Chess players are super complex. They're interesting people. They have all these different facets to their personality. Like, let the fans see that more often in over the board play.
Yeah, but how to find or where to find the balance between the interests of the professional players and the masses? While I think that the ones who have been damaged the most by COVID as well, those are the professional chess players who have been traveling to the chess tournaments, who've got the income playing in the tournaments, and all of the sudden, there are no tournaments organized, and the limited number of online events like this one, like Rilton's Cup, is a very great chance for the professional chess players at the end of the day also to earn some money. Yes.
Right.
How do you see that? I mean, how to push the ones also who are not technically so advanced?
Yeah, there's always been
so that they can survive.
There's always been an issue. There's like this sweet spot. It's an unsweet spot, in fact, within certain rating ranges. And I know a lot of kind of mid-tier grandmasters probably feel this way and just don't voice it that often. Is that it's really difficult to find where to fit in the tournament circuit when there could be a tournament that you want to play in potentially. Like, maybe the financial gain is like, maybe, let's say, I don't know, $15,000-$20,000 prize fund or something like that, like something you want to play in. But at the same time, you see a lot of like underrated players that might be playing in that, be very young, brand new GMs or something. And you're like, I don't know if I really want to play in that tournament. Like, it's not good for my rating because they really want to break 2,700 or 2,710 or 2,720 or whatever. And that does them a disservice. At the same time, they need to live, and they're almost too strong to be like coaching players, right? I mean, maybe when they're retired they will, but they're too strong to be doing that now. So like, where do they fit in? I don't totally know, but I will say this. As far as like being able to balance the the interest of the professionals and over the board chess and being able to let like people be engaged with it, I think a big part of that is just quickening the time controls, right? Because I think like when you're playing blitz over the board, I mean, because you're having to pay attention to the physical element of the pieces themselves and the placement on squares, like, you're in a totally different type of mindset where you're probably not going to be nearly as distracted by outside sensory overload as you would in a longer time control, that requires you to calculate at significant, deeper depths, I guess. I mean, obviously the top players in the world are calculating very deep, even in fast time controls. But the point I'm trying to make is that I think if you take those two in parallel, combine them a little bit, you're going to have a nice spectator sport that's bite-sized for like a younger audience that might only have 10 minutes, 20 minutes to catch a game, and they don't have 5 hours. And you won't have nearly as much disruption as you might in like a G90 or a G120 plus 30 game or something like that. That just isn't conducive to being a spectator sport, isn't conducive to the professionals' interests. But yeah, it's really, really difficult. We know for tournament pros specifically that are in that kind of mid-tier level to make a living in this game. It's so difficult. And there are also only so many content creators, right? There's only so many, coaching courses you can make and sell through PayPal on your website or whatever. Like, it's eventually that gets saturated. And then you have to find the new thing. Chess is not immune as an industry to seeking innovation and needing innovation to survive. Hopefully we'll all collectively as a community have a plan for that. moving forward.
You mentioned ratings. Preserving their rating has been very important for the professional chess players so far. But I was just wondering and thinking of this fact at one point, that actually what you see now, there are two separate worlds. It is the ELO, the physical rating, and then there's the total different world. Even several of those, like the several countries, League Chess, Chess.com, other platforms that do have their separate rating system, which does nothing to do with ELO. So how do you see that? Is it for the benefit, or we should rather think of the way how to streamline these rating systems? Well, of course, there's one crucial aspect then of the fair play. Well, in the physical chess, it's still much easier to reconfirm the fair play principles followed. So how to have you been thinking of that? Because I'm just wondering that if it would not lead to the fact that if the online chess overtakes the over the board chess, that the topicality of ELO would decrease. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, right? It's strange because speed chess is so prevalent online. It's always difficult to find that alignment where, like, blitz tournaments. I mean, you can have someone who's in the top 10 players in the world in blitz by rating, over the board blitz rating, who hasn't played a game in like 6 or 7 months. Like, are they the best 6 months after that? Are they still ranked number 3 or 4 or whatever? I'm not sure. I will say, for streamlining ratings for classical chess itself, and I'm not advocating playing classical chess online necessarily, but I do think that there is a path forward there under specific proctored conditions with specific players to start out with, to be able to test some rated online games. I think you'll see it in the near future. Can't say exactly when, but I do think you'll see FIDE rated games, classical rated games, in the near future online. And as far as streamlining those ratings across different platforms, across over the board, it's difficult because there are so many different factors that go into it, right? Whether that be like the size of the player pool, the average rating of the player pool, things like that. Like, not everybody plays over the board that plays online, and vice versa. It becomes a little bit tricky, and it's also not the same discipline. I mean, in a lot of ways, I hate to say that, but the truth is, and I've heard this from many top pros, like, a 2D representation of a chess game is not the same thing as a 3D representation, right? I mean, you don't see the board necessarily in exactly the same way online as you do live. And that's something to take into account. Someone can be very, very strong online in the exact same time control that they're slightly weaker over the board, or vice versa. And I think certain players, there are top professionals who maybe don't want to believe that, but the truth is that the data says that there are players who are just better online or better live. And I think being able to streamline those, what would end up happening is a natural partition segmentation across online and live chess. I don't know. I think it's all, like, these are all super fascinating questions, and fair play, of course, is another thing to think about. I think that that's one of those things where, like, there's a ton of investment going into fair play in general on the whole at chess.com and elsewhere too, and FIDE, even over the board, right? I mean, if there's like fixed matches or crazy things going on, like, those kind of things have to be snuffed out, and it could become a big issue as the game becomes more popular. So we'll see. Hopefully, I wish I had a better answer for you there, Dana, but that's a tough one to know for sure.
Nick, I noticed that an agreement was concluded a few weeks ago between Chess.com and Gazette Brazil. What does it lead to? Would it be some events combining the online and on-site modes? As I very well remember, I think our nice fans events organized both in Sweden, where you were also participating distantly, and then here in Riga, where SEB, one of the sponsors of Rilton as well, provided their premises for the fans, following their teammates, actively playing, having them some nice chats, drinks, this physical presence feeling. So tell us.
Yeah. Wow, I'm surprised you spotted that, Dana. That's pretty impressive. So yeah, we did sign an agreement with Gazette and went into partnership with them to run our events in Brazil exclusively with them, which is fantastic because they have so many interesting retail locations to be able to run these kind of hybrid events, like you said. I certainly think that you'll see some kind of hybrid events like that in Brazil that maybe start out online and move their finals to a live venue and have commentary on site and have influencers on site and fans that are able to, stand near the computers taking place, like with a live event. You will see something like that. And I think that is really interesting to have some of the Wasabi's Pro Chess League games last year in sort of a similar kind of like digital live hybrid setting. It did set the stage for what our thoughts were when we were going into this and talking with Gazit initially. And it's interesting to see like trailblazing formats like that. Like nothing is off off limits is the great thing about some of the online atmosphere and the online landscape. You can just make this stuff up as you go. If you think that something's going to resonate with an audience, there is no precedent. There are no rules that we have to follow. We just say, look, we think this thing's going to work. And then the next thing you know, like with chess.com PogChamps, for example, you just make something up and then it just exists. And now it becomes a cultural phenomenon. So you will see some of that in Brazil. And definitely like Brazil is a big potential future chess market, depending on the strength of the players, which almost always leads the way in any chess crazy country. I mean, you've seen this in Norway with Magnus, for example, that once there becomes one iconic player, a lot of times that can completely shift
all the
landscape.
Brazilians would switch from soccer to following chess. Yeah, so
Let's hope so. Yeah, exactly. We need a Brazilian Magnus or something, right? Or a Brazilian Nakamura or something like that. So
do you really believe that chess is an e-sport in its current understanding of the e-sport concept?
no, I think chess is an esport reject, and I think that chess is like Among Us, or chess is like Fall Guys. It's like a very complex Among Us game, right? What I mean is there's something called like a meta behind chess. It makes it an esport in a lot of ways in that the players are competitive and they're able to move online. But the truth is that most of the interest that we get here at chess.com in terms of chess as an esport is that it's almost like risky in a lot of ways to refer to it as an esport, because esports are supposed to be so cool, right? So because esports are supposed to be so cool, and because according to people in esports, chess might be uncool, which is decidedly not true. But that's
being a nerd is cool, kind of becoming very cool.
No, being a nerd has been cool for like over a decade. And it's a compliment, right? I mean, there are very intelligent people working in chess who become very successful in life. That were great players and still are great players. But the point is that I think for chess to be an esport, let me put it this way: I don't think we want chess to be a pure esport. I don't think we want that. We want chess to straddle that line where it's in its own category, because so many esports are just trying so hard to be cool, and it's just so uncool to try so hard. So let's just keep it where it is. I like chess. I like chess where it is.
We're not trying to be cool. We are just like that.
Chess has been cool for like centuries, so we don't need to try over the last 3 years to try to appear cool with I mean, I really think that. I think it's funny because like a lot of people ask that, right? Is chess an esport? It is if they want it to be. Chess is an esport when it wants to be, but right now I think chess is just the best game ever invented. Simple as that. So.
What do you think about the market development? I mean, these different chess online platforms have actually given shelter to the chess players, especially this year. I mean, we've switched to our national leagues, even Wasabi's. I mean, during the very first weeks, we've been playing the Swedish leagues, the German quarantine leagues. Joining the other countries. I mean, that's been a very cool development, but don't you feel that there are too many players at this point and the further consolidation of the biggest platforms might happen?
Maybe. Look, there are like 125,000 new members joining every single day on chess.com. That's a lot of people, as you can imagine. I was reading a stat.
What is the number of users now currently?
Total, we're inching towards 51 million worldwide, which this year we've brought on about a little over 16 million so far this year. Or not, I'm sorry, not this year, last year, Dana, in 2020. We brought on about 16 million new members. And look, I think that, it doesn't really matter how people are playing chess, where they're learning it, whether that be like over the board or on an online platform or wherever else. As long as they're playing and staying in the ecosystem of chess, that's chess.com's job, right? Our only job is to find where there's like opportunity cost, and try to get people more interested in chess instead of being interested in backgammon or Hearthstone or League of Legends or any other casual, I guess, like activity that takes up time. The reality is that as long as we're doing chess a service to be able to retain players, which has always been chess's biggest problem, like keeping players past the age of like 14, 15 years old, if we're doing that, we're doing our jobs. And everything else is just game awareness. You can think of chess. There was a popular marketing campaign back in when I was a kid called Got Milk. It was a Got Milk campaign. And all it was they took celebrities, the milk conglomerate, took celebrities and said, hey, Michael Jordan, can you be the face of milk and say to kids, if you drink milk, you'll grow up to be big and strong, a great basketball player like me. And this worked. A lot of kids were drinking milk at the time. This was in schools all over the US, whatever. We're like that. I mean, we just want people to have chess. That's it. I mean, just chess. That's it. And the way that you do this is by outlining some of the benefits of chess. So for the very top players, or even for like more serious players, you want to increase your rating, you want to win more games, get better at tactics, improve your speed, whatever. But for people who are just getting into chess, like, you have to give them a real reason. And the way you do that is by saying, look, it's going to improve your decision making and your cognition and your creativity and your social life.
Start learning chess in schools already, yes.
Kind of, yeah, exactly. It's like if we start making it more about improving yourself versus improving at chess, then we've won. And if we don't do that, and we all sit back and say, wow, don't you want to raise your elo? People are going to say, what's elo? Like, I have no idea what that is, right? So that's the goal. Yeah.
That's the best way how to prepare the future human being while the professions are changing so fast. You cannot give or prepare a person for the profession anymore. You have to give skills, and that's what chess is all about.
Exactly.
Okay, Nick. So thank you for being here. Probably, Jonathan, you would be happy to ask some question to Nick while he's here.
Oh, okay. I was just
from a professional chess player.
He's like, no, I don't care. No, let's hear it.
Okay, I didn't prepare any type of question, but I was listening all the time. I came to think about, I think it was some quote, I guess, from the Amazon founder, Jeff Bezos.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess he said something like, I don't know, I only want to invest in things that makes a difference for people, like no matter what it is. But so that was what I was thinking about when you were talking as well, that maybe the like details here and there is not as well. You like it sounds like some kind of broad. You have some kind of broad picture.
Yeah, I mean, the broad picture is, it's funny because there's like two different parts of chess here. There's the improvement on the human side, right, which I just spoke about. And then also on the tech side, which is largely driven by machine learning and in the AI space. And specifically when it comes to neural net driven engines, there's an entire community, an entire ecosystem of top professionals who in their spare time are building these pretty incredible engines, which can kind of serve as the foundation for advancements in other fields. And I think that that's another place where chess, like to speak to Jeff Bezos or other people in the tech industry, can find some real value in chess, is that there are a lot of people who are extremely talented who are otherwise kind of wasting their lives away on chess because they love chess. Admittedly, we all do. But they can make advancements within chess that are able to be used elsewhere. And you've seen this with Google DeepMind, with the DeepMind team and AlphaZero, which is now AlphaMu, which is solving issues in healthcare, and I'm sure will solve issues elsewhere as like general artificial intelligence. And you also see it in open source, like with Leela Chess, for example, having similar architecture, and everyone's building off of this collective knowledge and improving engines and improving neural net based chess engines, not only for like training top professionals, which is fantastic, but also for like solving real world problems. So yeah, it's funny that you brought that up. That's actually a great point about someone like Bezos. Let's say, how do you get him interested in chess? That's the way to do it, right? Yes. If we want these big investments, that's how.
Well, I haven't really seen like people, Bezos or Elon Musk or someone like that, taking much of an interest in chess, for example. So
you haven't seen his last tweet. Elon Musk made a tweet about not everything is cake, combining cheese and chess. There was a cheese.
Right. Yeah, Elon, you'd be surprised. I'm not going to name names, but I will say this: there are a lot of top tech people. There are a lot of billionaires out there, tech billionaires, who do play chess, and they do play chess online.
Yes, and I think this is also the case, for example, in Latvia, or I guess that might be the same in Sweden. There are a lot of business people, of politicians who secretly play chess online. And I guess one of the reasons is that nobody sees, and they are not ashamed of not being probably the best chess players. And I'm just wondering if you do have the idea how to somehow encourage them not only to use the app hiddenly on their mobile phone, but somehow come out of the, box and participate more in also, yes, the on the board chess events.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of getting them more involved, it's funny because there are some very well-known people who play hundreds of games, thousands of games of chess, right? The truth is that a lot of these guys are just very, very busy. Of course, somebody like Elon is trying to run 4 different companies or something at any given time. But the interest is there. Getting them involved as benefactors in chess is maybe more important. And I think that chess has been, as you know, Jonathan, chess has been dependent on generous benefactors for many years. And as a commercial venture, it's always been really difficult to pitch what we call a value proposition. If brands come to us or individuals come to us, they say, okay, well, what are we getting out of this? Creating that value comes from just being a spectator sport in general, right? In order for advertising to make sense and be able to make some profit, there need to be more eyeballs, right? Which is kind of getting back, I guess, full circle to what I was talking about at the very beginning of the conversation. To be able to make it a spectator sport is probably the most critical thing for chess. To get them out in the open playing, I guess, well, again, it would take a little bit of free time on their part, and also maybe just convincing them that if they start playing more chess, their company will be more successful. Maybe we can start a campaign and do some sort of study or something that says, hey, good news, if you play chess and your employees play chess, they'll be better employees. I don't know. Maybe that's something we can look into.
Okay, but when you think about the other people, I mean, those who are not the very busy ones, but who have joined your platforms probably because of Queen's Gambit or the overall hype of chess currently, have you thought of some way I have to shift them to the on-the-board chess? I mean, suggesting them approaching some federations, or I don't know. Just give me your thought on.
I mean, the thought is that that's not necessarily our main, our main job. Our main job from our perspective is just get people interested in chess.
Of course, but for the benefit of chess.
Oh, it does. It benefits chess.com too. I don't want to say, well, we're trying to not let them do that. It's more just our job is just get them interested in chess by showing them how to move the pieces, what basic strategies, whatever. And if they get more serious, they go play in a federation. But we've done work with federations, from all over the world, where, as you mentioned before, there are leagues, right? Individual private leagues, or there are leagues that have been established over the board that have come online. Same thing with federation events. We ran the ECU Online Championship some odd months ago, and we've connected with all of the federations through Online Nations Cup, through the Online Olympiad, especially, which featured thousands, over 1,000 players. So there is a lot that we're doing there, but getting the new players involved with getting registered for federations, it's just going to take more integration of those federations being involved, frankly, on online platforms, starting up clubs, having a presence, let's say, having federation members write blogs.
Your idea is that the federations and the clubs have to establish their clubs online so that to be used as their channels.
Yeah, there are clubs on chess.com that have 80,000 members. Imagine if there's a federation from all over the world, different federations from all over the world that are coming online and are able to create events that if people are using a search function or something on chess.com and they're able to find the club for their federation, great, they join that federation, and then the federation says, hey, good news, you come and play this online event. Also, if you live in this city, we have this event. Come sign up. Come register to be a member of the federation itself. Get an over the board rating, and that's how you get them involved with more serious chess. But again, we have the tools for this. It's just having to put in the effort, right? And I think that effort it comes with when sometimes like federations, they just don't have the manpower sometimes, right? It's really difficult to say, hey, we have, let's say 20 people at the federation and we have potentially 500,000 people we can reach out to. That's difficult. That's a lot of people per employee or per federation member. So you have to use those online tools, I think, to be able to leverage that.
Okay, Nick, and at the end of our conversation, so do you believe that this great interest for chess is sustainable and it's not just another hype that would diminish in few weeks or months after everybody has watched the movie for the first time?
I remember when I got asked this for the first time, maybe like early November. And at the time I was a little more like what I'd call bearish on the situation. I remember thinking like, okay, like this will like die out very, very quickly. Actually, I thought it would die out by like December. But I was wrong about that. We actually had over 1 million more people join chess.com in December than in November, which was pretty shocking. But I will say this, I've held steadfast here, and I think the company feels this way. It's totally up to everyone in the chess industry. And when I say industry, I mean like everyone. It's all interconnected. It's up to top content creators like Nakamura, or even sometimes like Magnus himself, who comes on and makes content. It's up to top players like Magnus and others to be able to continue to evolve by making themselves more personable, by playing fantasy football and things like that. It's up to companies like chess.com. It's up to officials and organizers and benefactors. We can make this last as long as we want. We really can. Chess can kind of break that mold, but it's going to take the type of, I think, aggression and deliberate effort that maybe hasn't always been totally clear. I think chess has always been, at least since I've paid attention, has a lot of times been like a very reserved game in the way that it approaches marketing itself, even, right? And we've talked about this a lot. In order to break that mold and break into, there are people who are interested. They might email me and say, hey, I'm really interested in chess. Can you tell me more about it? I sell a story, and I think everyone has to sell their own story of chess right now and make it interesting for that specific audience, or else we're all just lost. We're all just going to go back to how things were, and that'll make some people happy, but ultimately it'll damage the game. And I think we're at a really interesting crossroads now where we can take one path and go back to the way things were, or we can be really deliberate in our messaging to new players, get them involved and make things easy on them to enter the game. And then we'll find a lot of success, totally up to everybody here in this call and up to everyone else in the chess world.
Okay, Nick. So my wish to you is let you be one of the strong fires who keep the interest warm for chess.
I'll do everything I can. It's all. I appreciate it. Yeah, we'll do everything we can on our side. I'm only a cog in the machine, but it's as always, it's all driven by the top players. There's a grandmaster perspective here that I think can really go a long way, and really talented players like Jonathan, for example, can help kind of keep that torch going. And I'm really excited to see what happens with chess over the next year. It's going to be fascinating.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you for this conversation.
Thank you so much.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Cheers.
A premium membership at chess.com will help you improve your game with full access to a powerful set of learning tools. Unlimited tactics let you practice like a master, with more than 50,000 puzzles to challenge you at every level. Our library of interactive chess lessons, created by master coaches, will enhance every aspect of your game. And after each game you play, the computer analysis feature will give you feedback on every move you played, turning every game into a chance to learn. And that's not all. Premium benefits also include unlimited tournaments, video lessons, the Opening Explorer, and much, much more. Upgrade now to take your game to the next level.